So I'd like to welcome everybody to this presentation, Lunch and Learn, for the new series of servers, the PowerEdge 15G. Lots of innovations in that portfolio. So I'm here as your host to kick this off very briefly, to turn it over to our main presenter today. From a housekeeping point of view, I hope everybody got their lunch vouchers to enjoy lunch on us during this session or after the session if you didn't get them on time. But usually our marketing team is pretty. Oh, not hearing audio. Can everybody else hear my audio?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're
All right.
good,
Loud
All
and
right.
clear.
Yeah, you're good, so.
Okay, good. Thanks. This session is recorded, and we'll have some time at the end to answer your questions. But please type your questions inside the chat here on Teams. From introductions point of view, I am Sylvain Jacob, the VP of Sales here at Microserve, and we have a number of our account managers that joined us on the call today. And we will be supported today by our folks at Dell, Mark Perry, which is the Partner Solution Architect, along with Rob Spicer, which is the account manager in charge of the relationship between Dell and Microserve. Microserve is a titanium partner of Dell. We have been growing our partnership thanks to you, our customers, for supporting us over the years. And we are now over, in terms of revenue, one of the top 5 partners in Canada with Dell. And our infrastructure component of the business has also been growing significantly year over year, serving our clients with their infrastructure needs. From an agenda point of view, I'll quickly go over the service portfolio from Microserve, and just for everybody, friendly reminder kind of thing. And then the heart of the session is going to be with Mark, walking us through the innovations and the latest announcement on the Dell technology power servers. And then we'll have a Q&A towards the end. From a services portfolio, this Dell partnership really connects with a lot of our pillars that you see here, from an IT procurement, our managed services, our cloud enablement solutions, disaster recovery, backup and disaster recovery solutions. The end user compute is also a big component of our relationship with Dell. And a lot of the data center activity that we do falls into the project and consulting, where we help customers right size and define what the best solutions are for their data center requirements. There's also a number of Dell components that fits into our IT security practice. And then also there's a lot of activity happening in our audiovisual practice, serving customers with Dell technologies as well. So with that, I will turn it over to Mark for the heart of our presentation. Mark, over to you.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, I'd like to introduce myself. Quick intro. I'm Mark Perry. I'm based in Calgary. This is actually my 30th year in IT. I understand Microsoft has a lot of combination of public sector and corporate clients. I actually started my career in IT with the university. And I've done projects, storage projects, server projects, virtualization projects for like police departments, municipalities. I think pretty much every health region in Western Canada. Recently, I spent about a year and a half on site at a technical college doing storage and virtualization projects. And I've always worked in Western Canada, except for a handful of projects. So I know the uniqueness of the Western Canada market. So do we have the presentation up, or is it? I don't see it.
It has seen.
Yeah, it was maybe as I try to give the control over to you, Mark,
okay.
I might have exited the presentation. So Ian, could you bring the presentation back up?
There we go.
Yes.
Perfect. And then Mark, you at the bottom at the top there, you click on take control. If you see that.
Okay, yeah, I should be good here. So
okay, perfect.
Sure. Okay, you guys see the first screen? First slide.
Perfect, Mark.
Perfect. Okay, so today's business challenges. I'm not going to read every point on the slide. Everybody knows, capacity is growing. Growth. You're dealing with growth. Limited. Limited human resources. Complexity. Complexity of cloud is something that surprises a lot of people because they're saying, well, isn't cloud the easy button? Well, people have moved to cloud. It hasn't always been as easy as they thought. So it is introducing some complexity because it's another thing IT people have to deal with. So the one thing I think that is missing from this cloud is security. That's something that IT managers, IT people have to deal with daily. So the overall message of this is IT must focus on driving value to business or organization. So organizations have to do more with less, as I mentioned. Clouds, the businesses, there's last few years there's been so much in the news about clouds. Businesses saying, why aren't we going cloud? It's easy. They don't really know the technical disadvantages of clouds, and that organizations can actually go, instead of public cloud, they can actually embrace hybrid cloud operating models. So workloads, they tend to lead to business innovation and solve, business problems. The server, or our server organization, basically says it's all about the workload. You look at your workload, and then that's based on a business problem, and then you solve it with the server. So the AI and edge, that's something that edge computing is a relatively new term, and a lot of businesses, organizations are finding that they have data on edge that they actually didn't even know about, and then they can try and unlock the value in the data and leverage it for their organization. So, question about cloud. Maybe some of the Microserve people or some of the other people can what's perspective on cloud in your industry, in your kind of organization? Are you people moving to cloud or just evaluating it, or what are you seeing? Let's see if there's anything in the chat here. Nothing really. So, okay, I'll just move on. So, oh yeah, hybrid.
Dexter said hybrid.
Yeah.
Things that are moving by nature, but from the application side of the house to also data center applications.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. The most popular transitions we've been seeing is productivity applications, i.e. Office 365, Microsoft 365, things, CRM systems, so on and so forth. Those have been the more early adopters, ones, if you will. Yeah, exactly. Those are easy to cherry pick and pick off. But as we get into actual business operating software, then that's a whole different approach, right? So
yeah.
Give it to Mark, and he kind of describe our thought process around how we get to different server infrastructures to accommodate that.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I just want to make sure that I'm kind of on the same page with what I kind of view. I've been out, I don't think the customer-facing role for a little while, and I just want to make sure what I'm hearing is actually what I'm seeing out there, which makes sense. So, okay, sounds good. So, organizations need to deliver IT services with agility of cloud. That's really why public cloud has kind of become popular and so you have to be able to deliver it, whether it's private, hybrid, public cloud. You actually need to achieve outcomes. It says any workload anywhere, so that's referring to a couple things. It's referring to basically where the data sits, whether it sits on premises in a hosted data center, in a public cloud, hybrid cloud, or whether it has mentioned edge before, whether it sits core data center or on the edge. So organizations that are scalable, flexible, agile were successful. So this is much what was promised with public cloud, but can also be achieved with on-prem, private, or hybrid cloud. I mentioned edge before, and a couple stats I've seen is by 2025, which is only a few years away, 75% of data in all organizations is going to be created in the edge. So that's just something, an interesting stat that I heard. So PowerEdge, our PowerEdge 15th generation. This is kind of why we're here today. So how can they help you? So the PowerEdge allows you to use the latest technology, moves towards infrastructure automation, and also achieve confidence through embedded security. And I'll get to each of these points. So our 15th generation PowerEdge can be your innovation engine. So you have to have compute that adapts or grows as workload changes with business needs, because you want to get 3, 4, 5 plus years out of a server or whatever infrastructure you purchase. So buying one, ordering one today, you get it in a couple of weeks. This year, you don't know what your business requirements are going to be in 2 years, 3 years, and you want to be able to get some life out of that. So we design them so it can be adaptive. Autonomous infrastructure is meant for alerting. If you have a drive fail, a piece of memory fail, something, things do fail in servers. It doesn't matter who you get it from. And things fail in basically all infrastructure. Before, back when I was an administrator, I used to get a call or a text, late at night, and then have to go in, figure out what the problem was because something was down. And then, you found out it was a drive or a fan, and then your power supply, you'd have to call support, get someone on site. But now it's pretty much standard that you'd get an alert that 2 in the morning a power supply failed, and first thing in the morning someone would show up on site. With us, we send someone on site first thing, and depends what your service level agreement is, and it shows up. So a lot of times people are saying, someone came first thing in the morning, delivered this part that they didn't even know that was down. So, but that's the way our server infrastructure is moving. So proactive resilience is the last statement here, and this includes security, which means you want to be able to anticipate potential threats and deal with them before they happen. It's a big part of security now. So adaptive compute. This means using the latest technology, but as I mentioned, the technology will change, or the use of the change will adapt in the future. So allows customers to take full advantage of technology. And servers used to be general purpose machines. And then, when I started working with servers, they're actually just big PCs. But now they've become customized. There's certain lines. Our thought is, rather than making one general type line of servers and then modifying it by CPU or disks or whatever, that always hasn't worked. So we actually have separate lines of servers, and I'll get into it in a couple slides on what the business purpose is and how to kind of determine what your needs are. Oh, this one didn't build out. Oh, so this is a couple slides from, shows a couple of our models. And these are some AMD processors that they're, every line that comes out, has more horsepower. With these, we can run more VMs. There's actually, I can send you the links for these studies on these, how we get so much more acceleration, more performance out of these specialized servers. And then we also have them on the Intel line too. So, but these couple examples are from AMD. So autonomous compute infrastructure means, we want systems that will work together independently, self-determine, self-heal, self-configure. We're working there. We're getting very close. We're leading with server automation and management, and we use our iDRAC remote server management processor for a lot of these functionality, and I'll get to a little bit deeper at the end. So the we have a stat in here at 85%, and there's actually another study I can that we did and to obtain this. The reducing management, that's a big thing. Performance is one thing, but reducing management is another thing. This was actually on our 14G servers. We reduced the amount of steps by 85%, and then carried that over on our 15th generation line. So streamline the management. Something called a term power zombie determination that I thought was an interesting term, and it's used to automatically find systems that are not currently managed or new systems on the network. So
Mark, there's actually a question in the chat right now.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, I will get to that.
Live optics. Yep.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes, it's known as live optics, and it is part of the presentation. Be coming up in just a handful of slides from now. And the nice thing about live optics is that you can engage with the team at Microserve because they've got all the skills and capabilities to assist you in running the software, collecting the data, interpreting the data with Dell, so that we can give you great recommendations based on what your use case and business needs are.
So thanks, Rob. Yeah, I'll cover live optics quickly in a future slide. So this slide's not building for me, but proactive resilience, server security is critical to the IT infrastructure. Security is built in, to protect, detect, and recover from cyber attacks. Let's move on to the next one. Oh. So, yeah, this slide isn't working for me, but so proactive. This is about proactive resilience, which I view as security. So we're the only server vendor with for cryptographically verified hardware integrity. And so what that means is our security credentials that are in the server, not operating system, but the management, are created before the server is manufactured. And it's all done through a supply chain that's ensures that there's no tampering, counterfeit components, things are sealed. Somebody said this is much like some of the food delivery services where the bags are sealed, when they leave the restaurant, so that they're not tampered with. So same thing with our servers. And so this mitigates a lot of the security threats that can be introduced to the supply chain. So adaptive compute. So now we're getting to technology, which is the world where I live. So how we're able to get performance increases, one of the things we have to deal with, especially with the smaller form factor servers, is heat. So we have spent a lot of time and research, we call it double vector cooling. We changed where fans are, where pretty much studied whatever you could on a server chassis. Actually, the metal of the chassis too acts as a heat sink. So I was on a call with our product team, and they spent about an hour and a half just talking about how we're dealing with heat, and they're quite passionate about it. It's actually quite interesting, something you never think of servers, the little things that they're dealing with. So if you're really interested, if there's people that are technical or want a little more deep dive, we can arrange that. So one of the things too is the second point here is relatively new to us is the direct DDLC, Dell direct liquid cooling. So that is starting to introduce liquid cooling or water into the server racks, into the aisle and the racks. And one of the things that addresses is you usually want to keep liquid away from any electronics. It's actually a really low pressure cooling system. So if there are leaks, it actually doesn't just spray everywhere. It just really kind of drips. And so there's ways to, we have the leak sense, which will, automatically move, work with some automation to migrate servers to different systems, or move workloads over, shut them down, alert. I mentioned thermal design. That was where the chassis is actually used to address the heat issues, and the acceleration. So things like dense our XA line, we have like 4 GPUs. I believe there's a 300 watt, and our XE line, we have like 4 500 watt GPUs. So there's a lot of things, and those are like in 2U boxes. So a lot of things to address heat. So that's just some of the little things that we're doing that can have a big effect on the environment. So I mentioned live optics. So our 15th generation line released, I think it was around 15 products since spring. So we didn't just upgrade, throw the faster processors in, say this 14G is now 15th generation. So we looked at workloads from our customers, and did a study and built servers ground up on kind of where the business needs were. So you have on the left, GPU optimized. So these would be like VMware, VDI, anything that's kind of graphical, intensive data analytics. The second one is edge and telco, some certain requirements for telco environments, or edge if your retail store, or have an environment where you just need one server somewhere, but you need it in multiple locations. So there's some we have rugged designs that can be used. Military actually uses these in portable data centers. So and they're usually pretty tough on equipment. So mainstream, this is where we see probably 80% of our market is our 650 and R750. So one of the things to note here is if there's a 3-digit, that's an Intel box, and if it's 4, it's AMD. So just to be aware of. Just lost my slide here. So scale optimized, you'll see these in large data centers. Actually, no, not these ones. These are will have more storage on this line, and then the specialization is with high performance computing and very dense, hosting facilities. So, yeah, if people have any more questions, just let me know.
So in summary here, Mark, Live Optics is a tool set that would allow the customer to pick and choose the right solution as part of the portfolio based on data analytics of their current state environment.
Yes, yeah, as I mentioned, thanks for reminding me. So yeah, if you have a server workloads, you're not really sure what they're going to fit on, whether it's a mainstream server or you need something more optimized. So it's best to just engage Microserve, and then they can use tools. Live Optics is our primary. In a previous generation, it was called DPAC. And now it's called Live Optics. DPAC was an acronym for something that I don't remember, but this is a 3rd generation of the tool. We have probably, I think, 40 or 50 tools to analyze environment, but Live Optics is the one that primarily we use for servers. So
it's good to note, if you have a non-Dell environment in server or storage, that's okay. We run Live Optics across any brand of infrastructure to help our customers understand the performance characteristics of what's going on today, which workloads, which VMs are actually consuming the most resources, and if you have any bottlenecks such as a network or IOPS or whatever it may be. Okay, so, and there's no charge to this for the Live Optics software, and it's just a matter of doing the professional service engagement with Microserve to ensure that they're collecting the data across the right pieces of your network and the right pieces of your application infrastructure. Okay, and then they work with us, right, and kind of spread through, and this helps us to really narrow down inside of these 5 different kind of categories of compute to get to the right answers for you.
Thanks, Rob. Yeah. So autonomous infrastructure. There's autonomous industry or world has these 5 levels. And this is actually the same 5 levels that the automotive industry uses for self-driving vehicles. And right now we're kind of between level 2 and 3 for vehicles. And the our servers are level 2+, and if you look at some of our engineered environments like our hyperconverged VxRail, it's actually at level 3. So you need to have actually system management automation in place to kind of take advantage of a lot of the advantages of the automation in our servers, and some come with it. So. But I thought this was interesting. I was on a presentation on this, and they were actually comparing vehicles and where they fit, and it's exactly the same on this how the servers are. So I thought that was interesting. So we have work streams right now for rapid provisioning, self-healing, optimization, and self-optimization and self-maintenance. So our vision, and we're getting fairly close to that, is if you buy a server, or any other Dell infrastructure, you rack it, just plug the cables in, and it will be self-described or self-describe itself into your management system, self-identify, self-commission, and then workloads automatically be deployed, whether through its a policy or ultimately it's going to be through AI decision making. So there's no other hardware manufacturer, getting close to this. So this is one of the advantages we have. And this reminds me too of back when I was administrator, we had to have so many steps, and basically I had to book like half a day or a day just to fire up a new server. So proactive resilience isn't just physical security, it's all the steps I mentioned before on how to keep your environment safe. So this started in the supply chain with our 14G, 14th generation servers, which are still available. We're right now selling the 14G and 15G. So, and we're the only manufacturer able to perform conditional security things such as lockdowns. If there's something weird, the server detects something weird in the environment, that it will lock down for a certain amount of time. And there's actually an NSA report on UEFI secure boot cost customization. And on our 14G servers, there's it mentions that we're the only one that we're able to capture hashes for security. So I'll just put that in the chat here. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Learned something, at a little presentation a little while ago about that, but I thought that was quite impressive. So security is really, useful if you integrate it into automation, because you want to be able to make decisions through policies, alerts. We're the only ones that offer the dynamic shutdown or lockdowns or lockouts through iDRAC. And all our management is done through our iDRAC controller. And iDRAC is called Integrated Dell Remote, or stands for Integrated Dell Remote Access Controller. And it has also a lifecycle controller built in. So it's built into every single Dell PowerEdge server. It's not something you have to add on an additional card. So it provides functional ability to help administrators deploy, update, monitor, maintain our servers. You don't need to install any additional software. Doesn't matter what operating system or hypervisor, because it just works off the bare metal, and you use it actually to install the operating system on it. So it's ready to work. It's secure. There's encrypted passwords already built into it from the factory, and then allows you to, as I mentioned, remotely monitor, troubleshoot, repair. Even when the system's down, you can manage it. So there's a few things on here. We could probably do an hour and a half just on the iDRAC. So overall, our end-to-end portfolio is your adaptive engine, and our 3 pillars that I mentioned are adaptive compute, autonomous compute infrastructure, and proactive resilience. So, any questions? And I do
Thanks,
have
Mark.
a couple. I do have a couple slides on live optics if you guys want any more information on it or see it, so I can send those out later. So.
Yeah, we can certainly do. I do have a couple questions on my end, but I'd like to turn it over to customers first to be able to ask some questions if there are any on the audience today. We'll give it a couple seconds here, and as we wait for questions, let's kick it off, Mark. Let's go back to the level of automation. I thought it was very interesting, the different levels there. Would you be able to speak about the vision and the time frame, or what are the gaps required for us to get to level 5?
Yeah, that's something I'm not 100% sure on, but I think a lot of it is just use. Trying to get our more and more people using servers, more and more collecting more and more data, and on management. That's probably a big stumbling block right now.
Yeah. I'd like to address this a little bit different context by referencing our storage architectures. In our higher end storage architectures, we do a lot of machine learning. So those same kind of machine learning constructs are being developed and continue to be improved inside of the PowerEdge server family. And it's just really about trying to build that big, broad set of knowledge of what happens with different workloads, what are their behavior characteristics, what are the best attuned environments for a given workload. And then as that knowledge increases over the next period of time, then we'll start to be able to move closer and closer towards that stage 5 of automation. Okay, so that think of it that way. It's just so we're essentially doing the machine learning gathering curve at the moment, and it'll continue over the next few years.
I see.
One of the things I can mention is we have something called Cloud IQ, which started with our storage products, and it's not it's a monitoring system that's cloud-based, and on the storage products, we've been using it and collecting analytics. So if there's a problem that we see on one of our storage devices, we know in a certain version of code, and we see another 200 or 300 of those in the world, we know that notify people that they need to upgrade or do something. And that has slowly been moved from, not slowly, but over the while, been moving it from adding VxRail, which are hyperconverged solution that is based on our PowerEdge servers. And that's been added recently, and PowerEdge servers are going to be added to that relatively soon, probably within the next month. So once we collect all this data, we don't collect actually the data on the drives, we collect the data about the servers. So once we have all that, that's going to accelerate the servers a lot. If we have, a big chunk of people's servers, of our customers' information of their the servers. So that's going to, I think, accelerate the automation quite a bit. I think what you're going to see is a little bit of a gap, between 2 and 3 right now, and then 3 will spill into 4, and things will just accelerate quite quick after that.
A lot of room to grow.
Yeah. So.
All right. I hope everybody got to learn a little something on this presentation around the different tools, the different innovations that are out there available to you. Would like to hold on the line a little bit for maybe a couple more questions if there are any, and if there's none, we can certainly adjourn. Our sales organization is ready to engage with you to discuss your server and infrastructure needs, do some scoping, and work the solutions in partnership with our Dell organization behind us. So would like to thank you everybody for joining us today, and please feel free to let us know how we can help.
Yeah, thanks to Microserve, for arranging. And
you wouldn't be the only one.
Yeah. So I didn't do it. That was the first slip.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyways,
Exactly.
thanks for arranging, and more importantly, thanks to customers for your time today. And if you have any questions, please out to your Microserve representative, not your Microsoft representative.
Yeah,
It
exactly.
sounded like you
Exactly.
said my sales expense budget just got bigger.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Appreciate
Thanks.
your time, all.
Thanks, Phil. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you all. Bye.